Here in my front garden again with you with a very bumpy wireless connection, so hopefully it settles in and gets really well connected. I'm just going to show you the garden. I've been away for 2 weeks and a lot has happened while I was away. Well, you can see we've had some wind too, but look, the lilies are out and they're bright, and this beautiful fire ember orange, which I really enjoy. And you can see the dahlias are coming up. Those ones are flowering, the other ones take longer. These lilies have mostly done their thing, but let's have a look. Hang on, I'll get out of the light. So there, yeah, a different sort. And we have coriander running to seed all over the place. Look, there's a little insect hovering in there. I like coriander. I find it very beautiful. Never mind that I can't eat it all. I get to enjoy its flowers. And yeah, you see, here's the cinerarias, and they run to seed. And I haven't been here to deadhead them. So, this is something you don't normally get to see. Oh, look. I wonder if I can show you this. In here, look, there's a spider. A long, daddy long legs thing. Sitting on top of everything here. Things you find when you stop to look. And this is the Lotus Lake Pelargonium, and it's lovely. And yeah, I can't resist pulling out the old weed while I see it. There's always stuff to do. It's a garden. That's what's going to happen. And the iceberg rose is past its best, but look, I've got some roses on masquerade, and it's lovely. And yeah, you can hear that my body sounds exactly like it has a cold. I don't know if it's a cold or if it's something else. I'll tell you all about it in a minute. Right now, I'm just enjoying the fact that the compassion rose is gorgeous. It's never looked better. Really, seriously, it's never looked better. Turns out it was hungry and I needed to feed it. So, feed it and away it goes. And look, the fuchsia's there with its lovely foliage and its bright red flowers, of which I'm very fond. And this is a different fuchsia, which I'm equally fond of because it's so elegant. It's one of the more normal sorts that everybody knows, but I just really like this one. And the cherry tree is covered in green leaves. And the sun's up there making that beautiful dappled thing that I enjoy so much under a tree. And the meadow rue is flowering. This is the white one. Hello, beautiful being. It's great to be just wandering around my garden with you. And there's the mauve rue. So if I stand back, you can see. I know there are weeds. I have not been here to weed. But you can see there are two plants. Similar, but obviously not the same. I love the foliage of this one. It's quite golden green. And this one is a little bit more grey. It's harder to tell, but it's got the grey foliage. What else have we got? The magnolia is just looking like a tree now. It's a few flowers, late flowers, peeping out of the foliage. But it's pretty much a tree. And in here, we've got some fuchsia blossom. And that's just gorgeous. So it's really nice to be home. Really nice to be home. It was great to be away. I'm going to go inside now. It was great to be away, but it's really nice to be home. Oh, actually, I have to show you this. It will not be the same next week. Look at these. I only forgot the most, vibrant display of floral colour that's currently going on is these. There's just a whole sort of line of them there, and then got these crazy Lilium regale, which is going to be really big, and golden calendula, and this Tritelia, I think, the Queen of the Blues, and I'm leaving one head on my calendula so I get seeds for next year, and this beautiful gladiolus that's coming out. So I can't not show you that. It's just beautiful. It's very elegant. And behind that, the feverfew. Oh, look, there's a wonderful insect there, climbing around doing its thing. So it's a garden, it's alive. Oh, and look, there's a whole lot more of this wonderful blue stuff. It's called Queen of the Blues. For obvious reasons, it just comes out and it's blue. Really enjoying that this year. It's the first time it's been like that. So, here I am. I went away to Cancun. I did not want to go to Cancun, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm very happy to live here and stay here. But there was something going on in Cancun that I wanted to do. So I got on a plane and I flew to Auckland, which took an hour. And then I waited 4 hours with friends at the airport. And then I got on a long haul flight from Auckland to Houston. And that was about 13 and a half hours. And then we got into Houston and we had a bit of a mad scramble to make our connection that would take us to Cancun from Houston. And that was another couple of hours. And then we got to Houston, and then we got to Cancun, and we had to get in a shuttle, and that took about another hour to drive us to the venue. And the venue was the Barcelo Maya complex. It's this big complex about an hour away from Cancun airport. And the reason that I paid the money and did the miles to get there is that Dr. Joe Dispenza was running his first ever 10-day advanced retreat there. And months before, because I had an opportunity come, it was now possible for me to attend an event before this one was advised. I was thinking, oh, where am I going to go? You know, there's this one and there's that one, and nothing was resonating. And I wasn't making a decision. And then I heard about this one. I was like, oh, 10 days, it's another $1,000 US dollars. So that means, you know, close to 2,000 New Zealand dollars more. And I thought, oh, Cancun, it's a long way. And then I was doing a walking meditation on Petone Beach, which is near where I live. And I had a vision. There's a friend of mine who was actually at Cancun earlier this year, much earlier this year, or was it last year? I forget. And she had a picture taken of herself in front of the Riviera Maya hotel sign. And she sent me that picture because she was there and I wasn't. And I was walking along the beach not really thinking about anything except what I was doing in the walking meditation. And suddenly I see this picture. Only there's me in it. There's me. And I'm like, come on. So, okay, I'm going to Cancun. Really? Cancun? Honestly. But, you know, okay, I'm going. I got the resonance, I got the signal, so I'm going to Cancun. So I got up very early that morning because, of course, everybody wanted to go to Cancun. And the time that it opened, it was 5 o'clock in the morning, so I was there before 5 o'clock on the site, and you know, I managed to get in, and that's a story, but I don't want to take all day telling you just about how I got in. It was a bit of an adventure getting in. It took about half an hour because the site gets very, very busy, it gets swamped, it gets flooded. But I got a ticket. And by the time we actually got to get there, there was a waiting list of 11,000 people. 2,200 people that got in, 11,000 people that didn't. So you understand how much demand there was for this event. So anyway, I get there, and I had a very specific intention in mind when I was going. And that came to me in meditation too. It was like, you are going to deal with this particular stuck muscle holding pattern that's in your body. Hi, Christine. To deal with that and to deal with the energy that is on it, in it, and to deal with some stuff that's going on in your heart, not physically, but emotionally, and to have an experience of being with a community of people, because that's not something I do. And there's a great there's a long story which I do not have time to tell, but it is there on my Patreon. If you want to see all the pictures and watch the little videos that I took, it's just follow my Patreon for free. The link is in the description. You can unsubscribe afterwards. I don't mind, but if you want to see the story, it's on there. And I mean, it's a beautiful place. And so there are just so many experiences that I had there. And the whole thing was synchronicity from start to finish. It became no longer unbelievable the way that things and people and situations and circumstances just lined up, one thing after another. This happening, that person, bumping into that person. It was just incredible when you are with a whole group of people practicing heart and brain coherence and having the same intentions and doing the same things as a unit. And it's not about being sheep in a flock and being mindless. The reverse. But because we were creating heart and brain coherence together, there was this incredibly enhanced energy and synchronicity that was going on. And it just became normal. It was like, who am I going to sit next to today? Who am I going to play synchronicity roulette with today? Is really how it felt. And every time, I just had the most crazy things. I met people that I've been wanting to meet for years. And I met them in a moment because I just saw them and it was like my heart said, go and sit next to that person. And lo and behold, I find that person is living exactly where I've been looking for somebody to make a contact with for years. And there it is. And it's just, so synchronicity, totally normal. Always a delight, but totally normal. And the teaching and the science and the information, some of it I knew, some of it was new to me. But it wasn't difficult because I've really studied the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. So the new information I could slot in around what I already knew. And the meditations, I love my practice at home. Oh my God, I can't imagine myself without it. I know who I'd be without it. It heals my brain, it heals my mind, it heals my body. All of that is true. When you're in a room with 2,200 people and a man who is the most incredibly aware and energy working person that I've ever known, I was so impressed by what I could feel going on in the room and my observation. And I mean, I was participating, so it's not like I had my eyes open, but I could feel what was going on and I could feel his awareness of what was going on in the entire room. And you just got to kind of be there to know what I'm talking about. But Dr. Joe Dispenza is really somebody else. And at the same time, right at the end of the event, he said, don't you call me a god or a guru. I'm just a guy who loves God. I'm just somebody who's in love with the mystical. And he is. And he takes great determination to stop people from putting him on a pedestal because he doesn't want to be there. He's just this incredibly beautiful man who is living the best life he can and serving the best way he can. And he's doing amazing things. So the event unrolls. I have a lot of emotional pain come up, which I kind of was no surprise. And I just keep doing the meditations and participating and overcoming myself, and it gets better. And then I can't remember which day because, it's all mixed up in my mind. We have one day where we have a 4 a.m. start. So I got up at 3 and it was okay because, I had bugger all sleep on the way over and my body was fine. I worked with my body. I knew what to do. It was okay. Got up at 3, got to the room in time for this pineal gland meditation that we do. And you got to start early because the neurotransmitters in your brain are best at that hour of the night to have a mystical experience. And the whole point of the pineal gland meditation is for mystical experiences and because they can transform you. And I wasn't expecting anything much, really, because I know what my brain does. I've worked with my pineal gland before. But I had a very, very profound experience and it changed me forever. It was a before and after thing. I was not the same afterwards. Excuse me, I'm going to have to blow my nose. Otherwise, this is going to get really, really messy. So stay right there. Sorry for the disgusting factor. But my body, having got home, has got a cold. Because I changed so much that my body has to catch up with my mind. It's chucking out wastes. It's having a bit of a healing crisis, and this is a common thing that happens for many people after a Joe Dispenza retreat, because there's such a change in frequency and such a change in who the person's being that the body just has to catch up. So I don't know whether I've got a virus or whether I've got Dispenza influenza, which is, you know, people get sometimes really sick and they go to hospital and they have all the tests and everything's negative. And it's just the body reconfiguring itself. So maybe it's that. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So I had this amazing mystical experience. And there's a little bit about that available if you follow me for free on Patreon. And I journaled for 20 or 30 minutes afterwards. And I took pictures of my journal and I posted those for my paid supporters. So they know what really happened during that meditation. It was profound. And I was different afterwards. I felt different physically, emotionally, energetically different afterwards. It was a game changer. And that wasn't the only mystical experience I had. That just kept building. Every meditation built on the last one. And I just got this greater and much deeper and more profound understanding of who I am and why certain things in my life have been so difficult. And they have. And half the time I didn't even know that they were so difficult. They just were. You know, when it's wallpaper and you can't figure it out. You don't even know that it's a problem because it's wallpaper. So the biggest thing that I've taken away, and I want to say, you know, I had that big experience in the pineal gland meditation, and every day I had something big happen. It just kept adding. And 2 days later, because I had another mystical thing happen the day after that, and the next day, I woke up and I was dead tired. My body was like 35 or 40% of my normal energy. And I thought, well, this is a big shift. My body's just busy, okay. So I just worked with it. Carried on, you know, did my best to rest. And the next day I was fine. And then I had a healing of my own. We all got a coherence healing, which was a big surprise. I had that on day 9. And that afternoon I got changed to go and meet some friends. And I was covered with a rash. From here, you know, my torso, the front, the back, covered with a rash. Didn't itch, didn't hurt. It's just, okay, my body's getting rid of more shit. It was practically gone the next morning. And, you know, it just carried on. And I had this healing on day 9. And it was profound. It was physical. My body was different afterwards. It wasn't dramatic. I know why things aren't dramatic for me. I was told that in my mystical experience. I was given a lot of information about myself. So I had that. Talk about a room completely alive, popping on fire with energy, and people in transformation. Unforgettable experience. Amazing. Beautiful. Profound. Powerful. Wild. Everything. So that was day 9, and then day 10, that was the day we finished. Another profound inner experience while I was giving a healing of just feeling so much love directed to me from others. And that was very, very powerful. Hi, Eric. It's lovely to see you, darling. It's just been a huge, huge experience for me to be in community and discover. I mean, intellectually, it was like, yeah, these are people who I can talk to about things and they'll get me. And they did, and they do. But in my body and in my unconscious, there was an enormous amount of fear and trauma with relation to that. And so all of that, if it hasn't gone, it's going. Hi, Paul. It's been really big. It's been worth every mile and every dollar to go and have this experience. It is unlocking me. And so, and that was fine, you know, it was cool. And then I get on the shuttle to go home, the shuttle to go from the resort to Cancun airport. And I think, who am I playing, synchronicity roulette with? And I sit down next to this really cool lady and we have this conversation. And it's like, she's got a Patreon, I've got a Patreon. We both have similar challenges, even though we do different stuff. We're very similar people. We're in the same path. It's like, okay, we're going to be working together next year to kind of help each other elevate our things. It's just so many synchronicities. So I wanted someone like that for ages to play with. And there she is. And then I get to Cancun airport and she's going off in a different direction, and we get on the flight. It's at Houston, I beg your pardon. And it's always a bit of a challenge. The Cancun, the connections at Houston were tight. So anyway, we get on the plane, Houston, that's the long haul of 14 and some hours to get home to Auckland before I jump on another plane and get to Wellington. And I'm sitting next to this young guy, who I find out is this, he's not a professional golfer, but I'd say he's on a way to do it. He's very talented, and he's had all this amazing mentorship and teaching and training from a very early age. Really a rare, really switched on. He asked me what I was doing, and I said, I went to a Joe Dispenza retreat. He says, I know that guy. My friend has been telling me about him. And he asked me all these questions for about 3 hours. He was so interested. He asked me a question, I started answering, and then he jumped in with something else. We went round in circles, but I got there in the end. And then I told him more stories because he needed to stay awake so that he could go to sleep and kind of wake up in the right time zone. So I told him stories about the retreat for another hour or so. And then he went to sleep, and he slept really well. I did not sleep well. I didn't have the right support from my body to be able to do that. But I surfed theta. I know what to do when I can't sleep. And I can put my body into a light sleep. And it is much better to do that. And I stop it from getting upset and stressed. And it was fine. So I get myself home. I get to Auckland. I fly to Wellington. I catch the shuttle home. And there's my beloved there, And I just sort of, everything looks kind of different. And I've only been away for 2 weeks, but everything looked kind of different. And I feel really different. I do. Because the biggest thing that happened at that event, the biggest thing that happened after that big mystical experience and all of the things that came after that was I got a heart. And you might say, well, you're sitting here with a heart that beats. Clearly you got a heart. Hi, Liz. So cool to see you. But what happened was that I discovered why I've never been able to ever consciously choose to attract, manifest, generate anything in my life. I've had things come to me. They've come to me. But I've never been able to say, I'm intending about this, I'm generating this, I'm feeling grateful. It just has not been a possibility for me. And I did not realize why. And what I discovered in this mystical experience was that the actual energy of my heart was pretty much, distorted, broken up, split across 1,000 different dimensions. I don't know how to explain it, but it was completely discombobulated, and so it was completely non-functional as a mechanism that you would use to resonate for things in the quantum. Just not there, not working, not possible. And now I have a heart. My entire life I've been the Tin Man, and I didn't know it. And now I have a heart, and it feels, and I can feel love, and I can feel gratitude, and I can feel all of those heart-centered emotions that I worked for so long to really try to feel. And it was very, very difficult. And so now I have a heart, and I know that I'm going home. I'm here now. I can create. I just know it. In a way that it's like my brain is still saying, oh, what, come on. But I know it. I can create now. And the kicker? I get home and I start sniffing and coughing and carrying on. And I've got this, whatever it is. And I don't know whether it's a virus or whether I have a little bit of dispenser influenza, which actually does happen to many people after these retreats. It looks like a viral thing. But, hi Laura! But it doesn't, when people go to hospital, sometimes they get really sick. They have all the tests, it's all negative. There's nothing. But my body is reconfiguring itself. Yeah, love, love, love. And you know what? The boat is practically rowing itself, Laura, right now. And the really cool thing, really cool, and it still cracks me up sometimes to think this is actually happening to me. I've had this problem with my gut. For 5 or 6 years, I lose track, where it just didn't work properly. And I know exactly what happened. I lived in fear and anxiety for so long that my gut only worked when I was scared. And when I stopped being scared, it became constipated. Not badly, not awfully or anything, but it just became constipated. It just didn't move without some chemical assistance. And it's gotten better slowly over the years as I've been doing Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. But I noticed at the retreat that it seemed to be just a bit better. But I was still taking, a daily dose. And then I get home, and yesterday it's like, no, don't take any. Okay, let's see what happens. Still going. Today, don't take any. Still going. And I'm thinking, wow, this is actually happening to me. Again, watching it happen, being inside this body as it changes. I'm not really surprised that I have this physical experience of a cold or whatever it is, because my gut is regulating differently. Of course, it's going to be throwing out a whole lot of stuff. So I'm incredibly grateful, because I knew that this was a possibility, but there's no guarantee. You don't know how the experience is going to unfold. And this is how it's unfolding for me. And so I have this cold, and I've been coughing and spluttering a lot, and it's been hard. But even that has served me, because it's brought up the memory of all the chest infections that I had when my body was a lot younger. And I've been dealing with all the emotions and the stuff that's around that. And I can't have those sitting in my body unaddressed as implicit memories. That's not who I'm becoming. That's my past. That part of me needs to be retired. It needs to die. It's not who I am anymore. And I don't think I would have seen that if I didn't have this experience. So, yeah, I'm changing. And I know that everything else is changing too. I can feel it. I don't know how. I know I'm going to keep on doing this writing. But even that, because I've now got a co-conspirator to play with, I know something's going to change with this too. I don't know how my life's going to change, but I know that it already has, because I'm different. And as Dr. Joe says, nothing changes until we change. And he's absolutely right. And when you change your energy, you change your life. And my energy is different. So, this is probably my last live for this year, seeing as next week it'll be Christmas Day, I think. I don't know. I'm in the unknown. Don't know what I'm going to do. But keep an eye out. I'll keep telling you what's going on. And I want to thank everybody who supports me on Patreon. It's such a little nest egg of a thing. But it's going to grow, because it's not really my project. This project owns me. And it has its time, and it's just got a process. And so I'm just writing right now. And I'm curious to see what evolves. So I'm very grateful for this year and what it's brought to me. And even the discomfort of what I'm in right now. Because my body's catching up with my mind. And my mind is in a completely different place from where it was 2.5 weeks ago. So, I won't cough and splutter forever, but I will never be who I was. And for that I am eternally grateful. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a privilege to share with you. And I'll be back when I have more news. Until then, have a beautiful festive season, doing exactly what you wish with those that you wish to do it with. And I'll see you in the new year. Bye-bye.